Another episode of the Canadian Cannabis Podcast. Stephen Pezzaniti in the house of Pezz Technologies out of Hamilton, Ontario. Stephen and I, we've connected previously through social media on the fabulous world of LinkedIn. Great cannabis community in that platform. If you're unfamiliar to it, very much different than Instagram and Facebook. And connecting with Stephen as well a little bit off the bat when we found each other on LinkedIn through the digital marketing platform as well. He's here today to explain a little bit about his involvement in the Ontario cannabis industry, as well as his new-to-market grinder jars, which I also have one here. Thank you, Stephen, man. Enlighten us, man. Tell everybody a little bit about what you told me and the fascinating 20 years or so that you've been around, man.
Perfect. Thanks, Jordan. Thanks for having me. We own VP Tool and Mold. It's a family. My father started it. He's been in the mold industry for about 45 years, building plastic molds for plastic bottles. And, over the years, eventually, I was going to get into the business. 20 years now, I've been learning a tremendous amount on it. PET, extrusion blow, work directly with the customers and seeing what their needs are in the packaging industry. From it. And, we've been great and blessed to have the customers we have to help us teach everything from conceptual drawings to final product processing. I would say about 2018, I kind of had an idea using the cannabis for medical reasons, multiple knee surgeries and stuff like that. Helps with the pain. I didn't have a grinder, and I was messed up. Couldn't get a grinder. Sick of using scissors. Thought, why do I where I go? So sat down, drew up some plans, kind of talked to Dad, and he sat down, showed me how to use the CAD system, design everything, and the grinder jar.
Beautiful.
Now, we have to carry our grinders with us. Everything's all in one. Just quick, easy. Not meant to be a permanent grinder. It's meant for comes with your package. 100% recyclable, and then on to the next jar. Instead of just throwing it in the recycling, you got stash. You grow at home, keep it in.
Yeah.
Works great with gardening stuff. Your spices. Everything down low. Been blessed to have team up with an amazing company in Montreal. Mike and Phil have been behind me 110%. They're a packaging company. They specialize in all cannabis packaging.
Awesome.
Quiet down. And I said, well, this thing's not growing legs. I started it in 2018. Helped it for a little bit. Mike and Phil called me up, Steve, like, you've got to keep going. This industry, it's not an easy industry to break into. And the industry, Ontario's different than, out west, Manitoba area.
Yeah.
The SQDC Montreal, they're a complete different animal to get tied into. Requirements. Everybody comes down to price point on their package, to build packaging, but then you don't hit the SQDC's requirement.
Okay.
Now we found a way to bring everything back. I'm a strong believer in Canadian, keep everything going home, and make jobs for people here. And we've teamed up with a company, and they've been phenomenal and amazing, and support points we need to be at to start producing and getting them out to the market. We're hoping that by end of September.
Awesome. So have you had a pretty steady brand reach out right now as it's going, kind of breaking out with the product, and any shops you've been to particularly, or retailers that of that? Because as a consumer, I will share personally how definitely how it is, man. It's an awesome little unit for sure, you know, and just coming out of the package and first getting a first use with it, just fireworks for sure off my head working in a cannabis retail shop, right? I mean, the all-in-one package that way. So, but yeah.
I've kind of hit every dispensary from, my hometown, Brantford, through Hamilton, Oakville. And it was kind of funny. About a week ago, I went in to do the whole spiel. Steve from Pezz Tech came up with a new cannabis package jar. My girlfriend worked at that dispensary we were just at the other day, and you're here finally. Like, one of the dispensaries seem to have good positive feedback on it.
Awesome.
We just go in May. We got a lot of positive feedback. It's just getting it into the LPs. The little niche that they like. Some guys are glass jars, some guys are Mylar bags, regular plastic jars, and it's trying to break into them to say, listen, the glass jars, look, they're not recyclable. Mylar bags are great, but trying to dig out that last little bit in the bottom of the bag.
Right. Yeah.
Like, clients are always giving me constant feedback. Hey, maybe you should look at doing a little bit of this, or can you, inside the jar. I was like, well, I'm sick of digging in and trying to find that last little bud or get it. So we made everything completely smooth, so there is no steps or anything inside. Everything releases.
Yep.
It's a different animal. It's this cannabis industry. Breaking into the market's going to be hard to do, but building relationships like we've got, the guys I've got at Biz, there's so many guys out there. It's always welcoming, and everybody's always willing to help each other out, which is the nice part about this industry.
Definitely, yeah. Tight community, man, and it's cultural too, right? I mean, so you're in it, and then, like you said, it's not doesn't grow legs overnight. 2018, the push still, exactly that. But generally, yes, the community embraces those that do push through, and it's this great opportunity that came up to have you on, especially with the grinder jar and the reach out coming that way. And I know when we first met, I had discussed a little bit when I was in the West, I had a Manitoba grinder company reach out as well, but on a different platform with decolonized cannabis, but also looking more not to break through, but having that stress, right? That burden of hitting that plateau kind of where their company was, whether or not to push forward or not. So, I mean, seeking out investment and looking at that grinder market entirely. We didn't end up doing the podcast, of course, but we also it enlightened me a little bit as to what was looking on. I started to look a little bit more, like you mentioned, in the West, in Alberta, what it seemed to be the difference in the retail for as far as stocked product and availability, turnaround time on the shop's delivery services, right? And then is now in Manitoba working in the retail. Number one, ultimately, everything's coming together at such a great time. To have Jesse Lavoie in the house last weekend, also discussing the packaging syndicate and looking at alleviating that burden for brands in Manitoba specifically. I had no hesitation in connecting with Jesse to say this episode with Steven is definitely someone for the two of you to definitely connect and follow up. I mean, right, your packaging, whether they would look at that, but the idea is they're wanting to make that distribution and packaging a lot easier for the Manitoba brands, keeping our store shelves stocked, because and I'm feeling it right now working at Pot Life. We've been hit and miss on our deliveries. Some of them are 6 weeks overdue, and we were bare bones, man, for a full week, right? So I'm looking forward to all of that coming out, and again, look at that network and the networking and you following up with more of these brands. It'd be fantastic to see, to purchase a product in partnership with you, right? Or however white labeled it would go, but definitely having the grinder all in one on that use. And like you said, it doesn't have to be a permanent use, a permanent grinder. If it was coming stocked like that, it would definitely be very handy with everything, So, and they're great for outdoors, man. You know what I mean? Like the cap, the method behind actually relieving the buds after the milled flower after, right? It's like you can keep that cap on there, a little gust of wind, anything like that. So, well, I'll demonstrate it near our 420 mark. I don't know if I'll smoke today. It is Bob Marley Sunday, man, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm tired. I was at a music festival all night, but that's again the tying it all together in this network, in this community, man. The music, the weed, the food. So cannabis industry specialization for sure is where we want to focus with Fleurysh, but we have an opportunity to break into some of the entertainment, the media portion of things. So that's going to be a steady for us as well, and trying to bring that all together. So most places I'll be going, man, your grinder is going to be right with me now. So yeah,
Always appreciate it, Jordan. Always appreciate it. For me, my first thoughts on it was medical. You know, drug marts, the Rexalls, or any of your pharmacies to get your medicinal, or even if you order it in. I don't want to have to go to a head shop, and I'm sure my grandmother wouldn't want to be going to, you know, a grinder or something like that. You know, we'll try to keep it on the down low, or, you know, it's a different generation, obviously. This kind of makes it a little easier for them. They don't have, you know, I think I've probably in my lifetime gone through about 50 or 60 different, you know, whether I've lost it, broken it, or you're just too lazy to clean it.
Yeah. Right.
So I just thought something simple, easy. You know, it's not a complete solution to a standard grinder, but it's something to go, let it run. Let's see how this thing goes.
I think you're onto something when you mentioned medical, right? Like, I mean, for one, I was definitely overlooking that. I was looking at it from a consumer retailer perspective there entirely. And definitely when I think about that, absolutely, man, I'm thinking more like my parents or my like aunts and uncles, and that definitely the convenience behind that medical. Yeah, man, it makes perfect sense. So definitely got a method to the madness, man. And it's really kind of cool stuff.
Oh, there's
How was the switch over? So 20 years ago, looking at, or in 2018, but looking at the molding, as you mentioned, with the family history in that business, how was it pretty easy going, looking at wanting to get into the packaging industry in the cannabis industry?
We were already into it indirectly, supplying the cannabis industry, you know.
Right.
Building the molds for some in the cannabis industry. And it was, you know, 2018, I had gone to some idea. You know, we signed an NDA, showed it to them. Yeah, you know, I think this is the right niche market for you. You know, I'm kind of one, you know, you tell me I can't do, I'm not going to stop till I prove you're wrong.
Right. Yeah. That's the way, man.
You know, but the trend, building the molds, which we still do, you know, I'm active 7 days a week for the family company. The day-to-days on everything like that, from design to conceptual to sales, there's always service. And I take that mentality along with me in the packaging industry. You might not be my customer, but if you need help, I'm here to help. You know, I've had customers in the blow molding industry, you know, they're not my customer, there's a problem. They've called me up, hey, this isn't working right. Could you give me some pointers or something to help me? Yeah, send it over. We'll help you out. You know, we're not going to charge you for it. Like, we want to make sure you're moving along, all of this going. You know, when COVID hit, you know, the packaging sector just guys were taking regular water bottles and turning it into hand sanitizer bottles and rubbing all this stuff, right? So we had to fly and do it on the fly. And way now, you know, going in, like we met on the LinkedIn. You know, I've had LinkedIn, lots of opportunities for guys. You know, sending out samples. It's been a really fun journey on this.
Yeah. It sounds like it for sure. I mean, and look where it's brought us, man. You're on the Canadian Cannabis Podcast. It's North
Can't
American.
go wrong with
Right. Yeah. So I mean, and it's digital history, man. It's we're live now. It's not going anywhere, right? Like, I mean, it's gonna be there forever. People are gonna learn about you. I'm gonna share you out for the next few days after our episode anyway, Stephen, right? So I mean, it's a great thing, and I'm gonna grind up right away here at 420. I'll throw a couple of nugs in and give a little demonstration.
up on my way over here. So
Yeah. I hear you though. Definitely a fun journey all around. I mean, in those niche markets that are in the industry, I mean, none of it, we're not reinventing the wheel. All right. I mean, so I like to look at the same time, some of them are emerging, so like emerging legal market, I guess would be the way to look at it, including the head shop, you know, in the legal gray area, medical areas that over the last decade and a half anyway, you know, it kind of all kind of really goes hand in hand with the idea behind the like that build up and where you're going to fall in. So when I started Fleurysh Ventures Limited, man, it was legal. It was a projection of legalization on the way, being involved politically and government employed prior to that. So having a bit of a good nose to the ground on some of the projection indications. And sure enough, it happened, right? So when it happened, it was just like, holy macaroni. And out of the gates, we actually put in for 6 licenses. Like when I've taking the time to learn more of the licensing process, not really knowing what we were going to go into as far as the knowing consultation and such, but definitely the free for all once we were registered in the CTLS with Health Canada, right? And it was like all these different licenses. So we kind of put it in for everything to get going. And then as regulations started to change over the 18-month into the 2-year review, now it's kind of real. Now I've kind of realized where it's going to be the most manageable for me. One, I love working in the industry. I'm realizing that. So, I mean, like you said, managing a company 7 days a week as often as I can is one thing, but also maintaining a presence in the industry in a position like that as a bud tender. I mean, it's perfect. It's a perfect opportunity. It's a great time. Networking with customers, right? Clientele plus the brand marketing that's happening with it. And like you said, it's kind of fine tuning its own channel that way into what I'm going to end up doing the most of it. And that's really going to be a lot of podcasting, video, you know, vlogging, blogging, and publications, man. And if it's all about cannabis and weed, you know, cannabis and music and food, and talking with great people like you coast to coast, I mean, it's a win-win. It's a beautiful situation. I really appreciate it all. Like, so it's definitely makes it worth that journey, man, worth that push. So hats to you too, man. Like, that long and really seeing the vision in what you're wanting to do with your product and then pushing through on it. Plus at the same time, building other people up around you. So yeah, man, great stuff.
It is enjoyable. You know, now I'm taking Pezz technology and started up doing machine repairs for people. And now it's coming into the packaging consulting, always wanting to help people come up with something different, something better in their packaging. It's kind of like you said, we're not reinventing the wheel. We're just kind of tweaking it a little bit.
Absolutely, yeah.
You know, we're working on some hash packaging for hashy as well. You know, some new stuff to come out to the market. You know, but baby steps, one thing at a time. Project going, and then off to the next one, sort of thing.
Well, you're in a prime spot, man, in Ontario as far as any of the regulations changes that could potentially come with packaging. Obviously, going in the fall, we're going to be looking at some of that, another Cannabis Act review. And in Manitoba, I know some of the anticipation with that actually is going to be around the brand marketing. Hopefully, I think across Canada, everyone's hoping the alleviation of some of the strict brand marketing regulation, lessening of or lightening up of. I think we're in a good position now anyway to kind of work with it as it unfolds now to stay in the position that we have with Fleurysh Ventures Limited working with Respect My Region. And I mean, that's going to be a prime opportunity. But at the same time, the consumption lounges, if we look at coming into the 420 now, I'll start busting up. But consumption lounges is another hot topic. I like to pick brains at the retail stores I shop at, as well as with customers coming in, because the shop at Pot Life Cannabis are like visionary, like yourself. Are the owners have actually built the place so it's ready to go for consumption lounging. When regulations change, we're going to be able to have in-house service, right? So it's kind of neat. It's very, very awesome that way to look at. But like, for you in Ontario, and I've talked with guests previously, the farm gating situation and the amount of success that is coming from that style of operation. the quality that's going into the flower products, the quality is coming out of those brands. And then obviously looking at, ideally they're going to be tourist spots. I mean, that's how I look at them. That's tapping into the tourist industry, getting to look at that consumption lounging idea there too. But how has that been for you as far as your process and your projects, as the brand regulations or packaging regulations played any sort of downfall in your process or setbacks?
It is hard to get out there and distinguish between things. Here, the branding is like you said, very hard to see them slowly lift that and allow the branding to come out. It's very hard for guys to stand out from another person.
Nice. So, and has it? Sorry there, Stephen.
It's the one thing, but it fluffs it up.
Yeah, I've had no concerns, man. I've tried 3, at least this will be 4th different consistency of herb I'm putting in. All of them have busted quite well. No, and it's pretty understanding how it works, right? It's like the child, it's like you said, it's all in one. You're satisfying the child safety regulation, hitting the spot on a 2-in-1 grinder lid, right? But I mean, when you pop it off, that little insert that I showed at the start, the grinders, I mean, it's in there. Like I was saying, if like a spot like last night, you got to pull up on a log and twist one up quickly in the boonies. I mean, you're covered. It's a beautiful little situation. Yeah, man, it's good. I like it because that's what I mean. How often do you like losing the shrapnel, right? Just in the wind too. Like, I like to try to get in there.
When you're out on the boat, it makes it so much easier.
Oh, that I could imagine, man, for sure. So, how is this the only size jar you're doing right now, or do you have other styles, or do you have are there larger?
It's a 3.5 gram jar we're doing right now. Getting that launched. 7-gram jar. We're looking at so as I said, my partners, and they've got a little eco pod jar. It's an amazing product. It's only a 9-gram container, so it's easy. Breaks out of its cardboard sleeve, goes in the garbage. So we're gonna add the grinder to that as well.
Wicked, nice.
We're looking at adding it to glass jars as well too, for the people that don't want to switch out the plastic. It'll get added. The sky's the limit on it. As long as we will integrate it into any system we can.
Sounds fabulous, man. Absolutely that way. Like when you mentioned with the glass jars and those niche markets, it is happening. You're right, absolutely. And I'm seeing it. Some brands are definitely switching to full-on glass jars, And then I've seen an odd, I'm not sure of the brand offhand, and I haven't seen it too often, but I've seen a glass grinder, but the glass, like your standard grinder, but with the glass. I'm sure people, So not like the lid 2-in-1 style, like your standard grinder, but just glass container. I don't think you can go wrong by absolutely looking at feeding into that one as well, or accommodating that clientele, man.
The thing is, we'll accommodate as many people as we can. We can't make everybody happy, unfortunately. Much of it as we can with everybody. People have questions, they have concern, package. All they gotta do is pick up the phone, and we're here to help them and to get what they need done.
That's very caring and kind, Stephen. I'm glad I met you for sure, man. That's and so now I pop up. I was wondering about being in Hamilton, Ontario. There is a Hamilton, Ontario Cannabis Connection actually in Manitoba, up at Lake of the Woods, Corktown Cannabis. That might be, I could, you know what I mean? It might be a follow-up for you to look at getting in as well. Amon is going to follow up with you. So I'll be bringing the grinder in to show him a little bit now that we've had our episode. And I'm pretty sure we're looking at variety for us as well and new stuff. So, I mean, I don't think you'll have an issue, but I would look into that, man. That's a pretty steady streamline right there, right into the heart. It's a beautiful tourist location out in that area, but might be a good store to drop in that way, drop your product there.
it's really how many LPs are actually in Hamilton. I had no idea until I started getting into it. LP across the street from my office, they're opening another one behind my.
Right.
You know, you've got some of the bigger companies, LPs, that you had no idea were here. I go, why is it all fenced up? Oh, okay, I know why that's fenced up.
Right.
You know, huge outdoor was here. Like, there's a store on every corner.
It's saturated, man, for sure.
It's surprising how saturated this still enough for everybody.
Yeah.
You know, every store, great dispensary around the corner from here that I go to. They're amazing. You know, every time I said, hey, I'm doing a podcast. Oh, yeah, stop by. Come on, come grab a jar or something here. Don't worry about it. You know, Butters has always been awesome with me, helping me out. The guys there.
Awesome.
You know, so like, the generation's not the same. It's everybody's very friendly. In the door of a dispensary with a jar, a flyer, and they all take time to listen. Great idea. Or can you look at this? I think we went through probably about 30 different 3D before we hit the final. Hey, yeah, this is going to be the right move.
Awesome.
You know, that was the fun part. And you know, everybody's given input. Everybody's been good. Everybody's been. And the cannabis industry is phenomenal. You know, guys like you out there advocating, helping everybody out is just amazing.
Thank you, man. Like I said, we appreciate it, all of it very much. It's I can't wait. You're gonna be. I hope you keep following episodes afterwards. We've got some more. Ontario is definitely a great response right off of the bat. And again, like pretty standard Canadian situation, right? So most of the industry folding out of the East, and the response coming from the East has been great. So I definitely look at bringing more. We're gonna have some cannabis brands coming in, as well as looking into the medical area, getting into some of the food and the connoisseur, right, into the chef, that area of stuff, and it's gonna be really good, man. It's getting juicy. It's gonna be fun. I'm definitely stoked that it worked out to have you as the second guest. Follow up with Jesse. I mean, the timing being right. Looking at packaging while it's being sorted out across the country, essentially. And that projection of waiting what October could bring for companies like ours, and I mean beyond, or what new doors might open when those regulations actually come into play or change and amend. So again, Stephen, I appreciate your time 100%, man. It's been a blast to have you on. I look forward to staying connected for sure through LinkedIn. We've got each other dialed in now. I mean, so the odd call, anything I can do to help your product break ice into Manitoba, you know, I'm going to do that for you, man. And if there's anything else that you want to share with listeners now, how to get a hold of you, where to find you, you know what I mean? You've got any in that way, if it's LinkedIn or anything, but definitely let people know how to get a hold of you, how your preferred method, and what they can expect to reach out, man.
Yeah, no problem. Appreciate it. No, you can reach me at Pezz Technologies, my LinkedIn page, emails to Pezz Tech at Outlook. You can reach out to Biz Solutions, the guys on this product. There's lots of ways, you know, it's not just my product. If you need help or developing a product, they can always reach out. We're here to help as a team. And like just to Jesse last week, definitely going to hook up with Jesse.
Awesome.
You know the doors are open whenever you're out this direction.
Awesome.
You know? So,
yeah. Okay, yeah, no, they're going to Montreal September, so
we'll be there.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I love it. That's what this is all about, man. Make those connections and get that, you know, get it out, man. Get it out there.
Appreciate everything, Jordan. Again, man. You guys love the show. I'll keep watching. Entertaining. Last weekend, I was watching the podcast with my son, and when I messaged you, my son goes, "Hey, is that your invention on his table?" Yeah, I didn't even catch it. It was on the table. I like that little smooth. You know, you just push it right out to the front. It was a blast. great.
I was fighting my urge to use it. I wanted to save it for this episode, so it was worth it, man. Every ounce of it's worth it the whole way. So definitely, let's keep in touch and follow up with all those connections, man. Let's make it work. Let's make everything go like exactly how it should.
Appreciate it, buddy.
Peace, man. Thank you for your time.
Have a good one.